has nothing to do at all with a future condemnation for roads. Roads is a completely different use, although actually you can condemn for roads in the TIF. This TIF is going to be over in 2019 though. This TIF doesn't go on forever. But the idea of road condemnation is, that would probably be the Illinois State Department of Transportation, or the City of Chicago Department of Transportation. And they design roads and build roads based upon engineering issues, and it would have nothing at all. It's not interactive. In other words, I'm not saying you should go along with this TIF, or that you should or shouldn't oppose the condemnation of that center. However, it has nothing to do with future condemnations at all. Nothing at all to do with it.
I'm going to respectfully agree that in a literal way that's true. But in the larger sense, we know that the whole South Side is being redeveloped. I mean, you would have to be blind, deaf, and dumb not to see the development. And that there's a development coming from the north-south. All of the South Side, what they're calling Bronzeville, has been totally wiped out. And is being redeveloped. And we see how that development looks, and it's lovely. I mean, we want our community to be lovely. We want our community to prosper. We see, as she said, though, that from the south-north, there's this other pincher of development that's coming. And development is never done, like, one weekend the community wakes up and says, oh, we want to build something, It's years in the planning. So what I get out of what was just said is that we need to be in the position to understand that this is happening, and to understand that this is not just about a grocery store. That this is about who we are and who we're going to be next year, the year after that, and 15 years from now. Who's going to be living here? Now, we know about gentrification. We've seen it. And again, we want to have high-end stores return to South Shore. We want to have a mixed community. We want a community that the indigenous people who live here can continue to live here, and that they will have affordable housing that's lovely, and all the amenities and so forth, so that the conversation that has been started about who and what a community has to do to get that is what we really are saying that needs to be started. And secondly, we need, as Leo is saying, this is a political question. It is resting on a legal position, but it's a political question. And so the question of who we, the community, will be in terms of us being at the table and insisting that we have planning done with us as planning partners. Not something, and I say this very respectfully, but the alderman, who has probably done our bidding in a way. She has done what we asked her to do. That is, try to find a way to get a store. But we need to be able to have said to the alderman, this ordinance about the eminent domain is much larger. We needed to be a part of that conversation before it happened, before you put it to the alderman. And even though it's done, before you put it to the city, and even though it's done, who are we going to be now politically? How do we continue to roll? And that is a political question. And that is why you have your organizations, your 501c3s, your planning commission, your Black United Fund, your chamber, your SSA. That is why you have your organizing forces, your block clubs, so that we can be and continue to be voices that are listened to, because at the end of the day, we are the government. We are the people that tell them what to do, not the other way around. So, next question.
First, thank you for this opportunity for all of us and for information. My name is Rosalind Mustafa. I've been in the South Shore community since 1969. I'm a senior. I talk fast sometimes, so sorry about that. What I would like to encourage everyone to do, myself included, is not look for the solution without knowing what your short-term goals, moderate, long-term goals are. Don't grab onto eminent domain. Don't grab onto this. We don't have enough information in one place. Every meeting I attend, there's a moving target of information. Rhetorically, what's wrong with Aldi? What's wrong with Ulta? What's wrong with Save-A-Lot? I shop at all three of those stores. I also shop at Treasure Island. I shop at Jewel. I shop where I see quality, good customer service, respect. That's what I want. So keep that as your goal, your objective. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and say a particular kind of store doesn't serve your community. Keep in mind what you want out of any retailer, out of any store. Also, remember that in commercial property, the value of the property decreases with vacancy. I don't care how big that space is, if there is not a viable tenant in the space, the property is not as valuable. If eminent domain continues, as it can, for several years, the shopping center and all the other tenants lose, we lose. The owner of that property now, I'll empathize with that person just for a moment, does not have as valuable a piece of property as he had when Dominic's was there. So it's not an all or nothing proposition. It's not them against us. It's what short-term, moderate-term, longer-term goals satisfy your ultimate objective. If your ultimate objective is to have the quality of a Treasure Island, that doesn't mean having Aldi there for a time doesn't get you there. I get the best cashews at Aldi's. The prices are better, they're fresher. The coffee I buy there is better. Now, maybe I don't buy certain things there, but when I spend $90 at Aldi and go to Treasure Island to fill in the gaps, I'm excited. And I'm not putting anybody down. I don't care who goes there. We all eat food. I want to be respected. If you make $1 million a year and curse at me, I don't care about that, about your $1 million a year. I'm not class and station oriented. Food is food. So I just urge you, don't grab onto eminent domain. I've seen South Shore Center on the lake. I've seen all kind of business organizations. I've seen the Phoenix property. I've seen the South Shore Historical Society. I've worked to rebuild and renew the Cultural Center. I shopped at Joseph's when it was on 71st, and now I'm recalled. What's going on in South Shore with all the pluses? Don't get distracted, distorted, discouraged. Think about what you want now, next year, the year after, and stay focused. Thank you.
Well said, well said, well said.
This lady is completely correct. And that center, that's the anchor to that center, the big 66,000 square foot food store. The landlord has to have that there. The satellite stores will not flourish unless the food store is there, because that brings people there. So you're exactly correct.
And she's also correct in the sense that it's not something that we expect to have an instant answer out of this meeting. We're only gathering, this is the starting point for gathering our information, because as she very rightfully said, Rosalind, thank you, said that we really do need to examine the big picture, the pros and the cons. There's some excellent potential, and there's some potential negativity. So don't mistake what we're saying here about pausing this and getting our community, our leadership to pause as totally a negative. It is, in my opinion, what I'd like to see coming out of this is exactly what Rosalind said. Let us take a look at the pros, let us take a look at the negatives, and let's see how to fine-tune what we ultimately want. And even within the context of the idea of revisiting what we want for the anchor tenant and how that should look. We did go through a pretty arduous process of deciding what we wanted, because the big picture here is is that it's not just about food, Rosalind. It really is about the economic development of this whole community. And so the kind of stores that we know that we want those stores to be able to employ the people in this community. This community has an unemployment rate that is 4 times or more larger than the unemployment rate in the city. City says they got 6% unemployment. We have in certain pockets, we have 40% unemployment. So why can't we make it so that this business redevelopment, not only of that shopping center, but of our whole community, make sure to employ our people. We want to own those stores. We don't want to just be consumers. We want to have the ability to own the stores so that we can then be the entrepreneurs that prosper. So that our entrepreneurs that are now in home-based businesses can come out and can put their businesses individually or collectively, like Give Me Some Sugar in our community, and we can have lovely little coffee shops and boutiques and so forth.
Okay, before we go on with any more questions, we're going to have to limit the time so that we can stay on schedule. But Rosalind, I just wanted to say to that, I think there is a mainstream of people who are trying to get the understanding that yes, we do need to think about the short term, the long term, the mid-range term, because that's extremely important. And as this other young lady had mentioned, there are some really serious implications. It's like a snowball effect of anything that we make a decision on. And just remember that this particular plot of land is the largest commercial piece of property in the South Shore proper. And so whatever that we decide is going to influence the community greatly, and we can't say that too much. Now, just a little bit about me. I'm on the board of the Planning Coalition, and I'm listening to the community saying that they would like for the Planning Coalition to take a position. Please note that the Planning Coalition's position is the position of the community, is the informed position of the community, which is why we're having this event here, and we so much appreciate it. Now, on the short term, just wanted to say one of the things I do day to day. Whenever I go into a grocery store, all those receipts do is they get balled up in the bottom of my purse and they get in the way. I write on the back of my receipt. They see exactly what I bought. Goat cheese. Yes, I'm a food snob. I buy anything. I buy the generic goods, but I need goat cheese. I need plantains. Anybody who knows me, I'm always complaining about plantains. I write on the back of my receipt. They see what I buy. They got my debit card number, and I asked them, South Shore needs a wonderful grocer like you. This would be my 3rd note to you in the past month. And I sign my name, I put my phone number. If you can do that and you encourage all your friends to do that, wherever you are buying groceries, snacks, or whatever, mention what you need and drop it in the suggestion box. We're going to have to keep our questions very, very short so we can move on to the next piece of agenda. And we have our website, theplanningcoalition.com. We're on Facebook, and there are lots of ways to connect with us, and so that we make all of our opinions public to each other. So thanks again, and let's move on to the next question.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for explaining that what we want doesn't have legal standing as far as what goes in there. I'd like your legal opinion from your experience on 3 things we know about that shopping center that some people said we didn't know. One is that they have requested, as the owners, TIF money, and it was refused. 2, that they already have a discussion for a World Fresh Market to go in there as a current anticipated lease. And 3, that if you were representing them under those circumstances, and they are a very deep-pocketed corporation with enough money to buy any attorney's help, how long could you as an attorney